You're listening to the Fierce Fatty Podcast, episode 74. It's pep talk time. Yes, you can love your fat body. Let's do it.
Perfect.
I'm Victoria Wellesby, TEDx speaker, best-selling author, and fat activist. I have transformed my life from hating my body with desperately low self-esteem to being a courageous and confident, fierce fatty who loves every inch of this jelly. Society teaches us living in a fat body is bad, but what if we spent less time, money, and energy on the pursuit of thinness and instead focused on the things that actually matter, like if pineapple on pizza should be outlawed, or if the mullet was the greatest haircut of the 20th century. So, how do you stop negative beliefs about your fat body controlling your life? It's the Fierce Fatty Podcast. Let's begin. Hello fatty, welcome to this episode. How is life? My life is feeling pretty good. I've got a fidget spinner. Just about 17 years too late on the trend there. You know, one of those things which is like a three, can you hear it? Spinning around. Oh, that hit the mic. I realise like when I'm at my desk, I need things to keep me entertained, keep my hands entertained. I also bought an inflatable globe because, you know, I do like a bit of geography. And I want to buff up on my African countries and their capitals. And so, you know, if there's a particularly boring Zoom meeting, then I'll be holding my globe, studying that. Not that happens often. Normally when I'm on Zoom, I'm like talking to really interesting people, so I have not yet had the chance to touch my globe and look at it. So another thing that I'm happy about is this morning a package arrived from Ireland. The day after I left Ireland, 2 months ago now, a piece of fabric arrived for me, and I had been waiting a month for it already because COVID meant that packages from the UK to Ireland were slow down, so it took a month for it to arrive, and then it arrived the day after I left, and then so my mum sent me this piece of fabric, and it took 2 months to get to Canada from Ireland. So it came today. I'm so excited, and it's a piece of fabric to do some cross stitching. Now I took up cross stitching during the pandemic, and I did a beautiful fuck, and it's leopard print. You probably see it in the background. I hung it on the wall recently. I also did something for my nibbling Molly, an M for her room. And now I have the fabric. It's like an off-white colour. I couldn't just get normal fabric. It had to be just off-white colour to do this. Have you seen that image where it's like a medieval painting, and they're pointing to a field, and added now is the words, behold the field in which I grow my fucks, and notice that it is barren. So I've got that. I got that print, the instructions and all that jazz off Etsy, and then I had to just wait for the fabric. So 3 months is here. Oh my gosh! And so it's probably gonna take me 3 months to sew it, because I think it's quite detailed, but you know, I'm excited. I'm gonna do some fucking sewing. Oh my god, it's gonna be amazing. And also excited to tell you about this new thing that I've seen. It's called Health Sheets. You can find it at Hays Health Sheets. Hays is spelled Haes phonetically, Hotel Alpha Echo Sierra, healthsheets.com. So hayshealthsheets.com. So are you so impressed that I know the phonetic alphabet because I used to work at a call center? So I know the British version. So do you think, are you really impressed? That's one of my favorite skills I've got. So this Health Sheets thing. So Let me read from the website what it is. This project was created based on our experiences with people who were struggling after receiving a health diagnosis and then being unable to get weight-neutral healthcare, people who were looking for resources to advocate for themselves and others, and people who were looking for resources to use in their healthcare practices. We set out to create a resource library that provided information and options for those who want and those who give evidence-based weight-neutral care. Amazing. Fucking love it. And they've got a disclaimer. This website does not provide medical advice. And so the three people behind it, there was a grant given by Asda. Was it Asda that gave the grant? Anyway, they got a grant. Reagan Chastain, Dr. Louise Metz, and Tiana Dodson. These three incredible human beings. And, I don't know Dr. Louise Metz. And Tiana has interviewed me before. And obviously Reagan, I'm just, fangirling over her all the time. I actually had a chinwag with her over Zoom maybe a month ago, and I was just like, Reagan, I'm in love with you all the time. And she's like, I'm like that about other fat activists who are older than me, and she says this, and I'm like, yeah, but you're like so famous. Anyway, so they've got this library that's just started and they are adding to it. And so if you want information on the health conditions, and this is what they've got so far: heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, obstructive sleep apnea, PCOS, and type 2 diabetes. Then they've got these sheets, health sheets, which tells you like what it is, why it happens, and what you can do, which is not losing weight. And then they have a thing of why we don't advocate for weight loss. And basically it's everything that we talk about in this podcast, which it doesn't work, it's harmful, blah, blah, blah. But I want to give you like a little snippet overview of type 2 diabetes, because I feel like type 2 diabetes is the big kind of shame stick that fat people are hit with you're going to get type 2 diabetes. And then if they do get type 2 diabetes, then it's kind of like, what? Mega shame. That I've got this thing, which is, they warned me I was going to get this thing if I'm fat, and look at me, I'm so greedy and I've got type 2 diabetes, which is how a lot of people feel, rightly so, because that is what society tells us. But here's a little overview. So type 2 diabetes, what causes it? Okay, so this is from Health Sheets, hayeshealthsheets.com. So, quote, a number of factors can contribute to an increased risk of TD2. So TD2, type 2 diabetes. I don't know why, but this seems like the biggest fucking tongue twister ever created. I think it's because it's like two. The T looks like a 2 in my brain, and the D sounds like a 2, and a T. Is that, am I alone with this? T2D. T2D. Okay, T2D. Okay, let's continue. A number of factors can contribute to an increased risk of T2D, including weight cycling, aka yo-yo dieting, and internalized weight stigma. Weight stigma is fat phobia. But 2T is D, for fuck's sake. 2T2D I'm just going to say diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is predominantly a genetic condition. Let me read that again. Type 2 diabetes is predominantly a genetic condition. While much fat-phobic misinformation floats around, you cannot eat your way into type 2 diabetes. Let me repeat that again. While much fat-phobic misinformation floats around, you cannot eat your way into type 2 diabetes, and it affects people of all sizes. Getting type 2 diabetes isn't your fault. It does not indicate that you have done anything wrong. It is simply a fairly common health condition. Thank you. And then a little thing here, great, love it. They put a thing about pre-diabetes. I don't know if I've ever spoken to you about pre-diabetes before, but if not, this is anger-inducing. So what about pre-diabetes? If you have pre-diabetes, listen on up here. Pre-diabetes is a controversial diagnosis that was strongly lobbied for by pharmaceutical companies, which are currently developing at least 10 drugs to quote-unquote treat this condition. Important things to know when discussing the validity of pre-diabetes diagnosis. Some bullet points. The American Diabetes Association lowered the blood sugar threshold that is considered pre-diabetic in 2004 and lowered the hemoglobin A1C threshold in 2010, creating about 72 million new cases in the US. These changes were made without adequate research evidence and were later adopted by the Centers for Disease Control, CDC. Under the newest definition of prediabetes, about 1 in 3 people in the US is considered prediabetic. 1 in 3 people are considered prediabetic. According to the CDC, fewer than 2% of those giving this diagnosis a year actually progress to type 2 diabetes. Let me repeat that. According to the CDC, fewer than 2% of those given this diagnosis of prediabetes per year actually progress to type 2 diabetes. Studies have not shown an increased risk of cardiovascular disease in those with prediabetes, and there is no clear evidence that treating prediabetes will decrease the risk of progression to diabetes. And something like, this is me, not what they're saying, I think that actually even having that diagnosis is if 2% go on to have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, the shame and stigma that comes from that diagnosis, which is very controversial, made up thing, I would argue is very detrimental towards your health. If you have been diagnosed as being pre-diabetic, how much shame do you feel about that? How much less shame do you feel about learning about what it actually is, and about 1 in 3 people could be diagnosed as being pre-diabetic, and you cannot eat your way into getting type 2 diabetes. It is a genetic. It's genetics, and yo-yo dieting and weight stigma that causes it. So anyway, they have got health sheets about all of those different things: heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, obstructive sleep apnea, PCOS, and type 2 diabetes. More are to come. It's at hayeshealthsheets.com. I'll put a link in the show notes. Show notes are fizfatty.com/074, episode 74. So in today's podcast, listen up here now. Listen up here now, Patty. I want to give you a pep talk, all right? I want to give you a pep talk because... So I love asking my audience questions because I want to know what's going on in your brain, all right? It's been a few years since I haven't liked my body and, dieted and all that type of stuff. And so it's really good for me to be in touch with your brain holes and know what you're thinking, how you're feeling, all that type of stuff. So I do like a good survey. I do like asking questions on Instagram stories, informal polls. And this is not like research as in, scientific research. This is just, asking a few people, what are they thinking? So, not scientific at all. Just asking your opinion. So recently I did a few surveys over the Instagrams, and I sent a more formal survey over email. If you ever see a survey coming from me, answer those questions, because I tell you why. Why is the more I know about how you're thinking, the better I am able to produce content that is valuable for you. Like this content I'm doing today, the pep talk, is directly because of the information you shared with me over this survey, what you told me. And I was like, someone needs a pep talk, because what I found was a reason why people are not doing the work is they don't trust themselves to do the work, and they think that it's not possible for them. And I'm like, hello, excuse me, yes, you can do it. You can do it. Holy shit. Oh my God, I need to tell you. But before I get into that, me telling you how fucking amazing you are, before we get into that section, let me give you a rundown on what people said, okay? So I'm going to get my phone, because I've taken screenshots of the Instagram stories, and I'll go to the survey as well. Excuse me, go to my photos. Oh, so many gorgeous pictures of me. Okay, so, all right. I'll tell you the questions I asked. One thing I asked, this is random, how many people in my audience have had quote unquote weight loss surgery or are considering it? And 15% of people on my Instagram are considering or have had weight loss surgery. Because I was thinking about, that episode I did about weight loss. It was so fucking good. I'm like, it's so good. It was so good. And it helped a lot of people. And I wonder how many people it is directly affecting. Anyway, side note. Okay, so first question. If you don't like your body, if I could wave a magic wand and make you love your body, what would you do? Also, I'm sharing this stuff so that you don't feel alone, right? I shared the answers to this on my Instagram stories, and I said, how did that make you feel hearing what everyone else feels and thinks? And people were like, oh my God, I thought I was alone in feeling this. I thought I was strange and sad and a loser, but I'm not. You're not. Okay, so what would you do if I could wave a magic wand and make you love your body? Here are some answers. I would have much more confident and consequently better sex. I would wear whatever I liked. I would have more sex with my husband. I would finally be happy being single. I wouldn't feel as if it was because I was fat. I would feel easier to leave the house and do more things. I'd wear all the amazing clothes I've always wanted to, and I'd have sex without anxiety. I'd go shopping, then straight to the beach. Amazing. I wouldn't waste so much time dieting and working out when I can finally be with friends and families. I would wear other colours than black. I would start dating. Focus on the rest of my life. I'd never second guess my worth. I'd be confident in my existence. I would pay for a proper massage. I would wear whatever clothes I want and not what is quote unquote flattering. Yeah, so that's what people want to do. When you're really struggling with your body image, what is your internal dialogue? What does your internal dialogue sound like? So the question is, when you're really struggling with your body image, what does your internal dialogue sound like? So this is what people said. The internal dialogue was saying, it's my fault. I have no self-control. I'm lazy. I'm unworthy of being found attractive. The world will see me as weak and stupid. That I should be embarrassed and ashamed that I am not worthy to be alive because of how I look. In those moments, it tells me it's the reason I'm single. I don't want to be seen by anyone. I want to apologize for existing. My body is ugly. I look like a glob, a lump. I'm ugly because I'm fat. Why did you eat that? Why did you eat so much? Why don't you exercise? You need to lose weight. Just lots of insults that have been called throughout the years. Ugh, why did I let myself go? So I'm not going to read all of them because there's so many, but they're all pretty much like that, which is, hard, So next question is, what things don't you do because you don't like your body? What things don't you do because you don't like your body? Okay, instigate sex. Enjoy, quote unquote, treat food without guilt or shame. Buy new clothing. Go swimming. Take photos of myself. Wear tight clothes, have sex, move my body. Approach people, talk to people, look people in the eye, because I'm so ashamed of how I look. I hate being filmed and I should be out doing solo jazz gigs. I avoid people I used to know because I can't stand to wonder what they think of me. Flirt with men. Oh my God, everything. Don't go out, don't like seeing friends, family, don't date, don't have sex, don't ... Wear shorts or tank tops or bathing suits or dresses. Exercise in public, dress stylish, participates in sports activities with my children, wear crop tops, take photos. Wear that fucker anyway. Like that. Okay, so next question. What do you do to try and hide your body? So people, to try and hide their body, they wear black clothing, baggy t-shirts, long shirts, stay at home, don't go out, wear layers, try to make myself smaller, loose-fitting clothes. Nothing I wear comes above the ankle. I tie shirts around my waist a lot, alter my body posture, put my kids in front of me in pictures, big clothing, not going out, not socially interacting, don't leave my house. I'm surprised by these not leaving your house stuff. Because there's so many of these that I'm seeing of not going out, because seeing people, especially people that you maybe used to know when you were thinner, and the shame that induces, and that's really powerful for me, because it means people are stopping living their lives, and that sucks. Okay, next question. What does it feel like to have the urge to hide your body? Exhaustion, horrible, panic, anxiousness. I feel invisible, hidden, lonely, vanilla, ordinary, plain. It makes me want to cry with desperation and shame, rage at our conditioning. It makes me feel like shit. So it doesn't feel good to have to try and hide your body, right? No. What impact would loving your body have on your life? Okay, so what impact would loving your body have on your life? I'd be able to document my life more. I never take photos or videos. I'd also have more videos on Instagram. I'd treat it well. Just not to give it much thought. Just live life. It would mean complete freedom in so many ways. I would feel free to create the business I dream of. I'd be freer. I'd have less anxiety. Would have more romantic relationships. I'm not sure, because I can't even get my brain there. I would show up more in the world. I could spend all that time thinking about more important stuff. Exactly. So, yeah, that is what people said in my informal Instagram poll question thingamajiggies. Now, I did a more formal survey with like buttons and shit. Now, in this, I wanted to get more into, how people, what they're doing to overcome these feelings, which are not good. Okay, so 92.6% of people in my audience are fat people. So that's the first thing. How would you describe the way that you feel about your body? And so here are some responses. Very mixed emotions. Some days I'm okay with it, but most days I hide in hoodies and tracks. Negative, but working on it. I don't hate it, but I don't like it either. My big belly is ugly. I hate my stomach and my arms. Working really hard to accept it, but I have always felt it was wrong, or I was a failure for having a fat body. Ashamed, ugly, unhappy, fear, disgust, trying to accept. Disappointed, uncomfortable, sad, embarrassed, weighed down, sometimes okay, but I honestly would entirely change it if I could. I don't feel ashamed anymore, but I'm not confident either. I hate my stomach, arms, and neck. Don't hate it. I don't love it, but don't hate it. Rather wish it was smaller. And so I asked, do you want to learn to love, accept your body? Because, some people don't. And 100% of people said yes, which I thought was interesting, right? Because not everyone does want to learn to love and accept their body. They would rather focus on other things, obviously. Okay, so, and I asked, what describes you best from the following statements? And the number one statement, 81% of people said, intellectually, I know it's okay to be fat, but I don't like my own body. This is really interesting, okay? So intellectually, I know it's okay to be fat, but I don't like my own body. So many people resonate with that. They're like, I can look at other fat people and think they're gorgeous, and then look at my body and be like, it's horrible. And so what that tells me is people are educated on fat phobia. The people in my audience, not the world in general, that'd be great. But people in my audience understand that fat phobia is not a good look, but they cannot translate that to accepting their own body. There is a disconnect there. And so I think I know why. And from what I see is that people are getting trapped in the constant learner effect. And so this is something that a concept that I have created because I see it all the fucking time, is people are educating themselves. Hence, they know it's okay to be fat, but they are not taking action. They are learning. I want to learn about this. I want to educate myself, which is great, right? Don't not educate yourself. But then they don't do the things. I've used this analogy before, learning how to swim just by reading a book. You're going to know all the theory. Are you going to know how to swim? No. You'll be able to stand at the sideline and be like, actually tilt your head this way. But then if someone threw you in and you'd never swum before, you drown, right? So, okay. What have you done already to learn to love, accept your body? And so the number one response is following fat people or body positive people on social media. The next most popular is read or listen to books, blogs, and other, audiobooks, all that type of stuff. And then the next one is listen to podcasts. Notice how all of this is learning. So these are do these things, right? Do these things. But notice how it's consuming information and it's not doing. And the lowest one is nothing. So some people have said, I've not done anything. That's fine. But then the second lowest is taking a paid course or other structured learning. And when I say, learning, for example, my paid course, Fierce Fatty Academy, it's more doing than it is learning, because a lot of it is stuff, and I'm going over different concepts. And then we're doing the work together. And so this is just, learning, not doing. Okay, so if we kind of covered this one already. So what is your number one obstacle in learning to love, accept your body? So what do you perceive as the thing that is in your way? So people have said, it's an ugly body. Seeing all kinds of ads for weight loss creams, diets, etc. makes me constantly go back and forth with myself about wanting to lose weight and being okay with where I am. Giving my body permission to enjoy life. Fashion media and hurtful people's comments. Feeling I'm too old to embrace it and have new style that reflects that. That I care what others think of me. Internalized fat phobia. Wanting to be skinny and not able to accept myself. Fear of how others will judge me if I gain weight or don't lose weight. Societal standards. Diet culture everywhere. Chronic illness and pain keeps me constantly coming back to the idea that if I just ate quote-unquote properly, exercise, etc., I would be fit and healthy. Constant public health messages about this still affect me badly. Years of being brainwashed and not fitting into society, MRI chairs, MRI machines, chairs, etc. Okay, so next question is, which of the following best describes what you most desire? So what outcomes? So 40% of people said, I want to believe that my body is gorgeous, amazing, wonderful, and be proud of who I am. The next popular one at 22% was, I just want to accept my body and feel at peace with it. And number 3 here was, I want to be confident in my body so that I can do cool stuff like getting a new job, friends, enjoy time with my kids, or have great sex. So it sounds like, some people just want to get on with their life and not have to think about their body so that they can do cool shit. And some people want to really celebrate their body and just be like, I want to feel fucking amazing. I want to feel confident, and I want to do the things that confident people do. Like, if it's summertime, not have to feel like I have to wear a sweater or cardigan to hide my arms, or wear those clothes that are more form-fitting or brighter or more my personality, or all those different things that people have said before, have sex and date people. So what has prevented you from enrolling in Fierce Fatty Academy, which is my paid program? The number one thing here is, I don't trust myself to follow through. I don't think I can do it. I don't trust myself to follow through. I don't think I can do it. I was so surprised by that. Because I'm like, well, of course you can do it. And I'll tell you why in a minute. It seems to me like a no-brainer. I'm so surprised that people... I'm kind of surprised, but then I'm not surprised, because I'm like, duh, well, obviously people are struggling to have the confidence in themselves, because this is the issue that we're trying to work on, is having confidence in yourself. So that's the end of that, the stuff. So 3 things I want to talk about here. Number 1 is, you have to actually do the work to see the results that you want, and not be in constant learner mode. Number 2 is, you need to follow a recipe, a framework. You need to have a guide to help you. And number 3, you need to believe in yourself just enough to take that very first step. Not the whole thing. You just have to have enough belief to take the first step. Now, this is what I mean about these 3 things. So number 1, you have to actually do the work and not be in constant learner mode. So as I shared in that survey, most of what people are doing to try and overcome their dislike of their body is learn, is follow people, is listen to podcasts, which is great. Listen to my podcast. Don't stop listening to my podcast. Reading books, which is all great. It's all great, okay? I'm not saying don't do that. Do that. And you need to take action. Okay? So, with anything in life that you want to do, you can't learn your way into doing things which need practice. Anything. Think of any way that you've got skills in your life. You had to practice in some way. I'm sure there's things where you just learn and there is no practice. I'm trying to think of things. But anyway, you drive in a car. You can't just read the manual. That's why there's I don't know in North America, but in the UK, you have a theory test and then you have the practical test. It's no good if you pass the practical test, if you pass the theory and you're like, oh yeah, I know what all these old road signs mean, but then you get in the car and then you run someone over, that's no good. And so what so many people are doing is they're like, oh, I'm going to learn the theory, I'm going to learn the theory. And, someone like me comes along and says, hey, how about we jump in the car? And they're like, no, I'm not confident enough to jump in the car. Do you remember if you do drive, remember the first time you got that, someone let you sit in the driver's seat? I don't know about you, but I was just like, you realize that I'm like, theoretically have control over this thing, which is gonna, potentially kill loads of people. Why are you letting me do this? I have no skills. And then the driving instructor is like, turn the key. And they turn in the key. You're like, huh? Is it gonna explode? And then they're like, put it in gear. Or I guess in North America you have automatic. So I said you'd still put it in gear, right? And imagine as a British person, we drive stick, we drive manual, right? How much harder that is. But also coming to North America, people always think I'm so cool because I drive stick. They're just like, wow, you're like a race car driver? I'm like, yeah. Anyway, so it was terrifying. They're like, okay, we're gonna pull off now. We're gonna drive forward, and you're probably in some industrial estate where there's no one around, or in a giant car park, there's no one there. You couldn't possibly hit anything. Maybe a lamppost that's like 50 meters away or something. I don't know. And you start driving, and you're at the slowest crawl ever. And the driver and instructor is like, come on, we need to get you up to 30 miles an hour. And you're like, 30 miles an hour? What are we doing, light speed? Are you trying to kill us? And my driver and instructor was like, come on, you need to go faster. And I'm like, why? I need to have at least 2 miles, slow down to, when we get to that junction, I need to start braking before, 10 minutes before, because what if I don't and everyone dies? And it was terrifying. It was really hard, right? And some people, what they do is they, in this trying to learn to love their bodies, they're like, okay, right, I'm ready. I'm going to take action. And they jump in a car, the analogy car. They jump in the car with no instructor, no knowledge. They've done they don't know how to turn the key. They don't know where the indicator is. They don't know about adjusting the mirrors. And they start the car, they put their foot down, and they run over some old lady, and they're like, never fucking doing that again. See what happens when I take action? I just killed some old lady. This is a bad idea. I told you I can't do it. Well, yeah, I mean, you need to have a little bit of help before you do that. And so when people do take action, they're taking it in the wrong way. With the swimming analogy, it's like, okay, well, I need to learn how to swim. And you know what they do with some kids, and they just throw them in the deep end, and they're like, LOL, learn how to swim. You're going to have to learn how to swim, because if you don't, you're going to die. And then will you be inclined to learn to swim and have fun in the pool if you had been thrown into the deep end and you just had to figure your way out? It would be traumatizing. Yes, there might be some people who are like, I did learn that way and that was best for me. But most people, you would be like, fuck that. I'm terrified of water. I'm never going swimming, and I don't trust that person who threw me in. It's just not good, good way to do it. Instead, we need to tinkle our toes. Tinkle our toes, and that's all we need to think about, is tinkling the toes in the water. We just need to think about sitting in the front seat, sitting in the driver's seat and holding the key, and maybe putting it in the ignition, not even turning it on. Okay, so you need to get out of that constant learner mode, because it's not getting you to where you want to be. And so many people are, okay, if you're in this, there's a reason why I coined this phrase, constant learner mode, because so many people are doing it, And when I ask people, what have you done? What have you been doing? And they like, oh, I've learned this, I learned that. And I'm like, okay, what have you done? And they're like, So you're not alone if you're doing that. And it's not bad, right? It's you're not wrong for being in that. It makes sense because it's scary, It's great if you can learn to drive, because what freedom you're going to have in life, but it's really scary. And so if we think that we can just learn how to drive or learn to live our bodies by reading a book and by not taking action, do you think we're just going to read that book? Hell fucking yes. We're just going to read the book, because taking action is scary. And people might die. Well, if you learn to love your body, people are probably not going to die. But that's what it feels like. So next is having a framework, having a map, having a recipe. And so if you have the recipe, so for example, in Fierce Fatty Academy, I have the Fierce framework, and each letter of Fierce is an acronym for the work that we do in that module. So F is Feelings Foundation, okay? And so and then, you know, you don't need to know all the letters, but each letter is a step in the process, a recipe, how to get from A to B, a map, okay? I've laid it all out for you. I said, because I've done it before and I've helped people do it, this is what we need to do. We need to do 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Now, have you been trying to get from A to B without a map, without a framework, without a recipe? And you know, I hate cooking, okay? I'm really bad at cooking. If I can avoid cooking in any way, shape or form, great. I mean, if I can pour on myself some cereal, for me, that's, you know, as good as cooking I want to do. So cooking. Recipes. You could probably make, say if you, like, I could probably make, who the fuck am I kidding? There's no way in hell I could probably make any type of anything without a recipe. I think there's one thing that I might be able to make, Nutella cheesecake, mix some Nutella with some cheese, and then you've got a cheese. See, I told you it's bad. Okay, so you need to have a recipe. And imagine if you have this recipe, it's in front of you, okay? You just print it out from the internet. And it's really complicated. They're like fucking cordon bleu this, fucking sear that, jus that, whatever. And you're like, I don't even know what sear is. I don't even know what this fucking, what is a spatula. But you really want to do this recipe, and it's kind of complicated. Same maybe as, you know, learning to love your body. So you can have a recipe. But then what if an expert chef was just like, hello, I'm just in your kitchen hanging out, and I'm going to help you make that beautiful cake that you want to make. And here, let me help you. Let's go through the recipe step by step. And then it would be even easier, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be even easier? So a lot of people are trying to do this work without a recipe. And so they're trying, they don't have the recipe, they're thinking, okay, well, maybe I'll try this, maybe I'll do that, maybe I'll da-da-da. And then they open the oven and they've just got a big fucking mess, you know? They realise that they left the plastic on the chicken when they put it in the oven. My sister did that before. Or they thought that they could grill a salad. My friend did that before. She grilled a fucking salad because she's like, I want to melt the cheese on the salad. And she had some boy around and he wasn't impressed. But if they had followed the recipe, the instructions, if they had a map, then it would have been so much easier. And it would have meant that they weren't like, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm not cooking again. This is bullshit. Fucking what? You know? And next time they're like, okay, well, I should actually. Turns out that if you don't put flour in the cake, then it's not going to do cake shit, you know? Yeah. So next, number 3 of this is you can do it. You can do it. Here is the thing, what people are experiencing. Learning to love your body when you've spent so many years hating it seems like I have just dropped you at the base of Mount Everest and said, climb that. Go on, off you go. See you later. Good luck. Yeah, I know you're wearing flip-flops. Fuck it. Just fucking climb it. Go on. And so they're like, I can't. Hello? It's Mount Everest. I'm wearing flip-flops. 10 minutes ago, I was just watching something cool on Netflix. And you're telling me I need to climb up Mount Everest? It is a fact that I can't. And that would be reasonable. You haven't trained. You don't know what the fuck to do. You're wearing your flip-flops. So, but the thing is, that is not what's happening. And that is not the right way to look at it. The right way to look at it is, let's break this down to the tiniest thing that's achievable. And that is all you need to do. Okay, so I'm going to come to you and I say, okay, so let's climb Mount Everest. Say you actually wanted to. Would the first step be to go to the base of Mount Everest and just start going at it and hoping for the best? No. The first step would probably be, I'm going to Google how to climb Mount Everest. And I would read a blog. Okay, so the first step is Googling something. Can you Google? Have you ever Googled anything in your life ever? What's that? Yes, you have? Well, holy fucking shit. You are a success. You have done it. Oh my God. You're an expert Googler. You've probably Googled like 10 things in your lifetime. Oh my, more? More than 10 things? Oh, holy shit. We're in for it now. You're just a Googling pro. So can you Google something? Yes. Okay, great. Step 1 done. Okay, next. Okay, maybe I'm going to read this blog post about what it's like to climb Mount Everest, what it's like to hike as a fat person. All right. Okay, so next is, I need to pick a date of when I want to climb Mount Everest. Am I going to make it next week? Nah, that's not achievable. Let's make it 2 years from now. So next step is just to pick a date. Can you calculate what is 2 years from today? You can? You have hang on, wait a minute. You have access to a calendar and you can pick a date 2 years from now? Hang on, you can add 2 to this current year to make a year that is 2. What? Fucking Albert Einstein over here. What? You're doing it. All right, you've completed the next step. Okay, what's the next step after here? Buy some clothes. Okay, we're going to, first off, don't even think about the whole outfit. Let's just start with a hat or some gloves. What gloves do you wear when you're climbing Mount Everest? And what do you do to find out what gloves? Something you're an expert at. Google that shit. All right. Okay, so you're going through all these steps. They're tiny steps. What gloves to wear? Pick a date, all that type of stuff. And then you get into the more serious stuff of, okay, well, I need a guide. I need someone to help me. Okay, we need to get to base 1. Okay, this is what we do, right? And so the thought of climbing Mount Everest is a massive thing, right? It's a massive thing. And maybe you've never done it before. Chances are you haven't. And it feels impossible. But is it possible to do a little bit of Googling? Yeah. And so that's what you need to look at, is you need to look at that first step. And you need to remember that already in life, you've achieved so fucking much. It's incredible. You've already done hard things. So it's not like you are not capable. You're not the type of person to do things. That's not true. And you might say, well, Victoria, I haven't done anything good. Yes, you have. Like, have you ever, I don't know, brushed your teeth? Have you ever, I don't know, spoken to someone, made a friend, had a job? Anything. These are difficult things. You were not born knowing how to do that stuff. As a child, imagine as a child, you were told, okay, you're going to go have to get a job. You were like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Resume, CV, what is that? I can't even write yet. You had to learn how to write. You had to learn how to communicate. You had to learn how to position yourself. You had to learn how to talk to other humans, all of this stuff. And you're like, we poo-poo these things like, whatever, I got a job one time, or whatever, I brushed my teeth one time, no big deal. It is a fucking big deal. It shows that you're capable of doing these incredible magic things. That was me dropping my fidget spinner thingy. So you've already done so many amazing things. But, when we achieve these things, we're like, whatever, all these great achievements, you're like, they're not great. Yeah, I got a job, but, My sister just texted me this morning. She says she's been going for these interviews to get a higher band position. She's in addictions, mental health stuff in Ireland, and it's really hard. It's very competitive to get a higher band, as in making more money, more responsibility, that type of stuff, to get a promotion, basically. So she's going for these different interviews, and she's not been successful because it's so competitive. And then she texted me this morning saying she got this higher band job, and now she's going to design a new addictions centre that will help so many people, save so many lives. And then she's like, oh, but I feel bad because someone else went for the job and they didn't get it and I got it. And, you know, and she's already kind of not poo-pooing her achievement, but, you know, having these negative thoughts around it. And I'm like, fucking hell, you were, you know, turned down for different jobs and you kept trying and you did it, and it's an incredible achievement and you should feel proud of yourself instead of feeling guilty. And, you know, we do this all the time with things that we've achieved, and you're like, you know, even with like my TEDx talk, I'm like, look back on my TEDx talk and I'm like, oh, there's so many things that I don't like about it now, and there's words that I've used in there that are not aligned with who I am today, and it's just I don't having those types of feelings about it. But holy shit, did I work so hard to do that. And it's so easy to forget it and be like, well, there was this one word I said that I wouldn't say now, therefore the whole thing is just garbage. No, you know, you've done so many things. And so when you did those things, no matter what it was, what did you have to believe in yourself in order to do that? What did you tell yourself? How did you position yourself for success? And it can be hard to remember that, but did you just know, okay, I can achieve it? Or did you just be like, okay, well, I'm just going to take the first step and I'm just going to whatever? Like with my TED Talk, getting a TED Talk seemed ridiculous. Like, I did this. So the first thing I did is I got an email from someone saying, oh, my friend is doing this course about a free course. It's like a 5-day course about honing your message for TED or something. And so that was the first step, just doing this free 5-day course. And then I bought her full course. And her full course wasn't how to get a TED Talk. Her full course was how to apply, how to craft your message. Okay, so that's the next step. And then the next step after that was make a 2-minute video for the application process. And each one of these steps can take a while, right? You know, making a 2-minute video for the application process, did that take a fucking long time? Because I had to re-edit it about 50,000 times, because to get it under 2 minutes is really hard, and it was like 2 minutes and 1 second, and that was too long. And was I fluffing up what I was saying and had to retake and all sorts of things? Yeah, it took a long time, you know, because if we look at it, just make a 2-minute video, that's too big. Let's just break it down. Okay, first thing, write a script. Not even write a script, write the first sentence, write the first word, you know. So, and as well, this stuff is really hard because I mentioned before, we spent years believing this, and maybe everyone around you thinks that it's bad to be fat, and you don't know anyone who's doing this stuff. Maybe I'm the only person that you know who is fat and doesn't think that their body is bad. And so it's so alien. But then when you become more literate in fat phobia and then you start taking action, you will see these massive shifts. You know, people say all the time, I understood diet culture and then I saw it everywhere. And you'll become better at dealing with it and navigating it, just like anything. Just like starting anything new, it's scary and it seems impossible. And, you know, I think about the first time that I started working in a bar when I think I just turned 18, and I got a job in my, a bar that was like open until like maybe 1 or 2 in the morning. And I was so shy. I don't even know how I got the job, because I was probably like crying with nerves, really shy. And then my first day, I remember hiding behind the bar when people came to the bar because I was too scared to talk to them, to the day that I left, and, gladly doing things like, I don't know if in North America you do this, but you have a bell and you ring last orders at the bar, please. And being able to do that, like, just got my knock at my door, phone ringing, because I got something in the post. Evelyn Tribbley of Intuitive Eating has sent me a copy of her new book, which I am in. Oh my god. So that's exciting. I wonder where I am. It's here. There's the picture. Where am I? There's no picture of me in it. It's probably just me as a resource to follow. But fucking the founder, the creator, co-creator of Intuitive Eating, the book, and the concept, knows who I am and added me in their new book. Oh my god. So Intuitive Eating for every day. 365 daily practices and inspirations to rediscover the pleasures of eating. Oh, there's a book. Oh, so exciting. Self-compassion. Day 136, self-soothing touch. Touch is an incredibly powerful way to help you self-soothe. The simple act of touch activates part of the nervous system, the parasympathetic system, which helps you feel safe and calms distressing emotions. Parents instinctively trigger this reaction when they pick up a crying baby and rock the little one in their arms. There's also another biological bonus of touch. It releases the cuddle hormone, oxytocin, which plays a role in social bonding and reducing stress. Here are some ways to explore self-soothing touch. Run your fingers through your scalp. Place your hand on your heart. Rub the back of your head where your skull meets your neck. Give your shoulder a light rub with your opposite hand. Cool. Oh my god, I'm going to read this shit. Look at my name in it. So exciting. Anyway, I like the colours in it too. It's like neon orange. I do love a fucking orange and green. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to look at that later while I'm not recording a podcast episode. Anyway, what I was saying is ringing the bell for last orders at the bar, on my last shift. And I remember once, them saying, can you ring the bell for last orders? And you have to shout really loudly, and it's this big giant bell, and it means that people might look at you. And I was just like, no. I remember being like, last orders. And they were like, no, you have to fucking shout. And and I did it. And at the end, I was a certified bar wench, pulling pints, having banter with the customers. Did I even have sex with one of the customers? No, he was a colleague. Anyway, so overcoming things. You would overcome things. So the reason why I was telling that story, at the beginning, I literally hid from customers. At the end, I was basically sucking their knobs. And did I think that was possible? No, I was thinking I just need to make some money, and holy shit, I can't believe I'm doing that. I even before my first shift, went into a bar and drank a glass of wine. Like that. Now I'm like, why would I do? That's so weird. Like 18-year-old girl just going to a bar to drink something before. I think I was like, I've never done that before or after, but I was just so scared. I needed something to make it possible for me. So I was probably half cut when I went. That's so funny. I can't believe that. Anyway, so in conclusion, you have to actually do the work instead of being in constant learner mode. 2, follow a recipe, okay? Expect that if you don't follow a recipe, a framework, have a guide, someone to help you, it's going to be a lot more difficult. It's probably going to go tits up. it's probably not going to taste good. Maybe it'll traumatize you. I don't know. It's possible that you can do it without the recipe, but it means that you're going to have lots of trial and error. A lot of it. And that's how I got there. A lot of trial and error. And it took so long. Right? Waste of time and effort. And if I could go back to Victoria in the past, I'd be like, listen, just get someone to help you do this. I've said this before so many times. I'm like, I'll just hack this. I'll just work out what they've done to get that success from what I can see on the surface. So many times. Oh my God, I'm not buying a course to help me. I'll just see what they did and just copy it. I did that so much in my business. And then like years later, paying thousands of dollars to kind of recorrect the shit that I thought that I knew, but I didn't know. Because I was just... no dear. Anyway, okay, so follow a recipe. And number 3, you need to believe in yourself just enough to take the first step. Just take the first step. The first little step. Don't look at the whole mountain. We don't even need to look at it. We don't need to consider it. We don't need to think about it. We don't need to work out how we're going to get to the top. We need to work out how to take that first step. What is it? And it's probably, first step a lot of times is just to Google something, right? To learn what the next step is. And don't you think about it. Don't you think about thinking, okay, well, but then what is how do I get to the final bit? I need to know how we get, like, you can have an overview of the process, but don't think about like, how am I gonna get like, but we really need to know how I'm going to peak, do the summit. I need to know how we're going to summit, how we're going to get to the top. In that film, Everest, I remember that's where, loads of people, they died at the top. So am I going to die at the top? You don't need to worry about the die at the top of Mount Everest. You just need to worry about Googling, how do I climb Mount Everest? Okay? Don't get in your head about this stuff. Just do that first step. And you can do it. You can do it. You've already done so many amazing fucking things in your life. You don't even realize. And if you're saying, no, I haven't, Victoria, are you alive? You're alive? You've survived however many years you've been on the planet and you're not dead yet? How many other people can say that they survived as long as you? That is an achievement, because life is fucking hard. Okay? So even if you're alive and that is the only thing that you say, you believe that you've done, I don't believe it. I think you're bullshitting. That's still incredible. Especially last year. Holy fucking shit. Woo! So, yeah. Okay? Are you feeling pepped? Are you feeling pep talked? Are you feeling ready to go out onto the American football field and do some American football things? Like what a coach would do to you? Yeah. Are you ready to do some chest bumps? Yeah. Or as Marilyn Wan emailed me and she did a belly bump. She did 2, what are they called? When you do brackets, that's it, brackets, but then the 2 brackets are facing each other, so they look like they're doing a belly bump, fat belly bump. That's what I'm giving you right now, fat belly bump. Just don't worry about anything, just do it, it's gonna be fine. Okay, good. So anyway, okay, I'm gonna go and look at this book and tell my mum that I'm in this book. And she'll be like, what's that? What are you talking about? Thanks for hanging out with me today. I so appreciate it. Show notes for that link to the Hayes Health Sheet 074. And stay fierce, fatty, and I'll see you later. Thanks for listening to the episode. And if you feel ready to get serious about this work and want to know when the doors open to Fierce Fatty Academy, which is my signature program where I teach all about how to overcome your fat phobic beliefs and learn to love your fat body, then go to fiercefatty.com/waitlist. Again, that is fiercefatty.com/waitlist. waitlist to get your name on the waitlist for when Fierce Fatty Academy, my signature program, opens.